Let's get straight to Sean King, Senior Vice President at Park Strategies, who's joining us live on the line from New York, and still with us, our guest host for this hour, Richard Harris, Chief Executive at Port Shelter Investment Management. Sean, look, we do appreciate you chatting to us. I know it's Sunday night over there and it's not early either. This is a pretty big deal, though, when it comes to the news we've had from the north. Now, it seems like this was expected by many in the market for some time. However, we have had condemnation. We have had confirmation and condemnation, I should say, for many around the world. I mean, this does seem like it's not going to go by unnoticed. There's a lot of commentary out there with a lot of criticism for North Korea. What does it mean to you?
Well, I guess it'd be kind of hard not to notice a North Korean rocket shooting in the sky. The condemnation to me seems pretty routine. I mean, some people are saying China's condemned the launch, but I really don't think so, because they're giving themselves wiggle room by saying at the same time North Korea has the right to peaceful nuclear energy or peaceful use of space. So that's kind of a cop-out by them. And the question is, when it comes to the UN after the launch, what are they really going to do about it? And chances are they and Russia will again balk and make apologies for North Korea. So the strategy by the North, whatever it is, because I'm not a psychiatrist, so I really don't know what they're doing, is pretty much the same. And the reaction around the world is pretty much the same. What makes it a little more interesting than usual this time is the effect it could have on Japanese and South Korean elections.
Well, that is interesting, Sean, and in fact we were chatting about that during the break, and you were giving me an indication of why you think it may well influence, because of course this is largely about the timing in terms of actually when they are going to release the rocket, and as you said, what the reaction is going to be following that.
Well, again, I'm not a psychiatrist, but it seems almost like North Korea has a death wish here, because when they've tried this in the past, pardon the pun, it backfires, because the liberal challenger in Mr. Moon in South Korea is advocating a more open approach, softer line on Pyongyang, saying unconditional aid, summits, visits, yada, yada, yada. And then the woman, Madam Park, who's representing the incumbent party, her own mother was assassinated by North Korean agents, and she wants to basically maintain South Korea's hard line on North Korea with a little nuance. So depending on when this happens, if it happens tomorrow, I think the effect will be muted by the time people vote on December 19th. But if it happens on the 17th, which would be Kim Jong-il, the anniversary of his death, 2 days before the election, I think it could be fresh enough in voters' minds. While this election is primarily going to be voted on domestic issues, it could give her a 1 or 2 point bounce come election day. And considering that every poll right now is pretty much 50-50, that could make the difference. So North Korea, in a way, is almost inviting a continuation of conservative rule in South Korea, which is fine with me, because that's what I would vote if I were South Korean, but I'm not. But I don't think that's what Pyongyang has in mind, but I think that's how this will play out.
Sean, it's Richard in Hong Kong. This may be another psychological question for you, but just reading the tea leaves of the leadership in North Korea, it seems really as if the change of leadership pretty well a year ago has led to very little change. We've still got a very aggressive government taking very much the same policies in North Korea, something maybe some of us had hoped might change a little bit. And this might well lead to people in South Korea thinking, well, it's business as usual. Do you have any views on the new North Korean leadership?
I think it is pretty much business as usual, because it's really not a new leadership. It's a new person, but it's the same family. It's the same clan. Remember, Kim Jong-un's grandfather, Kim Il-sung, his name is in the Constitution. I mean, there's not much uncertainty about who's running the show. And they control all the power. They control the military. They control the hard currency, the trade in and out with their friend China. And the same general who orchestrated the shelling of Yongbyon Island in South Korea 2 years ago, and who was also responsible for sinking the Cheonan South Korean naval vessel, which killed 46 South Korean soldiers, he is now rumored to be the new Minister of Defense in North Korea. So if anything, sure, Kim Jong may have put up a nice amusement park for rich Pyongyangers and foreigners this summer in North Korea, but if anything, things seem to be getting worse.
Well, it's a situation we're watching closely. Sean, once again, we do appreciate your time chatting to us on a Sunday night from the US.